As the ferry that ventured 4 hours across Lake Superior vanishes into the endless horizon, I take a deep breath and soak in the sun that seemed to come out just for us. Suddenly, a feeling of panic rushes over me, and just as I'm getting comfortable on the island, I realize that my $250 hiking shoes are already halfway across the lake on the ferry that I just came over on. This was my introduction to Isle Royale. I know what you're thinking. Clinton Lake, El Dorado, Potter Lake, these are all wonderful places, but today we're opening a whole new can of worms. Having been there multiple times on Isle Royale, I've seen firsthand the magic that this unbelievable place instills in people. It's an experience that was and is still near and dear to my heart. As a visitor of Isle Royale, one can venture across one of the largest islands in the US, seeing nothing but wildlife, inland lakes, scenic views, without seeing one single person. Today, I will be informing you all about how Isle Royale National Park is not your typical national park. I've always said this. I think Isle Royale is as much a laboratory as it is an attraction. The diversity in topography is unseen in a lot of national parks. This giving way to scientists conducting research on obviously the topography and the wildlife, the islands, and the vast water structures that make up the island. The commencement of Isle Royale began about 1.2 billion years ago when a rift opened the Earth's crust and produced rocks that form the bedrock of the park today. Isle Royale is actually consistently ranked as one of the most rugged national parks, which gives way to a very rustic feel, which then gives way to a very wilderness experience. That's what most people look for when going to a national park. How to get there? You go across an often dangerous expanse of water on a ferry. I made the really dumb decision of leaving my hiking shoes on the ferry, seeing it drive away, and proceeding to walk 108 miles in Crocs. So, yeah. The island is made up of 400 smaller islands that accompanying a vast freshwater area, and then it is surrounded by the largest lake in North America, that being Lake Superior. What makes it a national park, I believe, is the distance between the island and the mainland. Wolves and moose have been at the epicenter of the diverse Isle Royale ecosystem for as long as the island has existed. According to Kimberly Massabee in her article she wrote, historically a pack of 25 wolves has lived on the island since the island's commencing. But over the past decade, their numbers have steadily declined, and the moose population has skyrocketed. Before researchers began bringing new wolves to the park, only two members of that pack of wolves remained. And it takes obviously more than two wolves to keep the ever growing moose population in check. In an article written by Mark Brush in 2012, he notes that Isle Royale is the least visited national park, yet it is the most revisited national park. Which brings me to my next point. With Isle Royale being the least visited national park, not many people are aware of the solitude that Isle Royale brings to people's minds and bodies. Uh, During my stays on the island, the most people I saw hiking one day, maybe 9 hours of hiking, almost the whole island, 10 people. This, I feel like, can be a good and a bad thing. For me, it was unique because in my life, I've never been a whole day, maybe even 6 hours without interacting with someone. And it was the weirdest thing, but also very unique. Um, as I said earlier, one can find the ultimate level of self sufficiency while traversing the island. Uh, with little to no facilities and no self service, it is hard to contact anyone on the island in case of emergency. When all said and done, the trips I have taken to the island have been a complete blast. No sugarcoating it. I think I've made that very clear in my speech already. As a visitor of Isle Royale, one can venture across the largest islands, uh, wildlife, topography. The bedrock is there. There's miles and miles and miles of trails. Of the speeches that I went through, um, of the trips that I went to, sorry, um, the farthest I went was 108 miles, and it was a life changing experience. Um, Again, seeing absolutely no one on the trail, which is, again, an ultimate level of self sufficiency. Um, yes, solitude, undulating wildlife, topography are on full display in this sensory filled ecosystem. I hope you learned more about one of the most special places I've ever been to. Um, and if you didn't learn anything about it, there's one thing you can learn. Don't leave your $250 hiking shoes before a 108-mile traverse of Isle Royale. Thank you.